You know, I meant to do this earlier, and then Dark Season 3 dropped on Netflix, and I said, hey, just one episode. If you've watched that series, you know that's not possible. But let's talk about this week. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. Yes, taking a quick break from the boob tube to do a quick weekly update. I'll probably be quicker than the usual ones because I kind of want to get back to it. Like always, go ahead and update you on the subscriber count here. Things are starting to slow down a little bit, but still moving along steadily. I haven't really created like a new goal or anything yet. We keep shattering those goals by, just months in advance. But I'm not ready to make a bold one quite yet. Like I said, things do seem like they're slowing down just a little bit, as I expected, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm glad that you guys are here. Also, if you could hit the description below and check out the Discord, I think that is the best way to reach me. I've kind of gotten behind on answering comments on the channel because the bigger the channel gets, the more those comments come in. I just haven't had a chance to answer all those, not if I want to keep reading. And also, if you like the channel and you want to help out, you can hit the Patreon. Lots of stuff there for you to check out. As always, though, nothing is expected. Everything is appreciated. But let's go ahead and talk about this week, guys. I finished The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. Absolutely wonderful series. That's all I can really tell you. It is action, excitement, heartbreak. It's visceral. It's brutal. It is satisfying. I think it is a wonderful series that any lover of fantasy, old and new, will appreciate. I felt like it really took traditional fantasy and moved it into the modern era every bit as good as like a Michael J. Sullivan has with Rhaenyra. I think it's something that anyone can click with, and I can't recommend it enough. I'll put a link down below if you are interested in checking out the series because it's the most fun I've had with a modern fantasy series since the first Law, and yeah, that's high praise coming from me. So I don't know if I'll be doing a full-on review for books 3 and 4. Like I said, I did the one for books 1 and 2. I feel like if I do another non-spoiler video for 3 and 4, I'm just going to repeat all the same things. So check out the Discord where we can talk about spoilers there maybe. But if their demand's high enough and you want to hear me repeat myself, I guess I'll do that. But as of right now, I don't intend to read Blood and Bone just yet, just because there's lots of stuff going on, which I'm going to kind of talk about here. And that starts with continuing the Dresden Files. I'm working on Skin Game right now. About a third through it. Last one before I'm caught up with all you guys. I'm trying to get there before peace talks here in a few weeks, and I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like I said, I'll finish this in a couple days. I really was thinking I'm going to finish this and I'll finish Wrath, but Wrath was just so good. At the end there, I just couldn't stop. So I imagine I'll probably finish this early next week or whatever. And that leaves me saying I will be doing my Cold Days review sometime early next week. Things this week just kind of got out of hand, and obviously I was reading a lot, so I didn't get around to doing it. But that's going to happen. I've done all of them at this point. I'm not going to skip Cold Days, even though I'll probably be done with Skin Game by the time I record that review, and I'll probably just go ahead and maybe record that and Skin Game back to back. Who knows? They're all going to be done before Peace Talks comes out, and I do hope to do some kind of wish list or expectations or hopes and desires kind of thing for Peace Talks before that book does come out. As for what's next, I started reading The Gunslinger again. I read this for the first time when I was 19 years old. And if you know the series, you know that there is a very, very big deal about the number 19. So I don't think that was a coincidence. But that was in 1998. So I'm doing my Into the Multiverse episodes, you probably know, of Stephen King, where I go through one per month in publication order under his own name. And this month is going to be Cujo, but for August it's going to be The Gunslinger, which is the first Dark Tower book. And it had been so long since I read it, I said, you know what? That's not a particularly difficult read. I'd like to read that again. And I'm already about a third through. It's only like 230 pages. This is that expanded edition, though. And people were asking me, are you noticing the differences? No. Like I said, I was 19 years old. I'm 41 years old now. So, yeah, I don't remember a lot of differences so far. But I'll look those up before I get into it. But also, be on the lookout in July, where I'll be doing my Why You Should Read the Dark Tower series, which I think will be good for everyone to check out. Because if you're a fan of fantasy and you just haven't really got into Stephen King, I think that might be a good entry point for you. I don't usually tell people to start there with Stephen King, but if you want to start there, you can. It's just, yeah, I'll get into that Why You Should Read video on why I feel that way. We did pass 15,000 subscribers. I did do that live stream this week. As always, a lot of fun. I don't think I'll ever be the one live stream per month type of person, but when we hit a big milestone, I feel like it's, only fitting to do that. Not because I don't like talking with you guys. It's just I always worry about having technical issues when that's going on, and I'm kind of a perfectionist on these things. So when it's got something in my audio, my audio isn't syncing up with my lips and stuff, it drives me nuts. And I know that's hilarious because if you go back and watch some of the earliest videos on this channel, there was a big problem with that when I was getting going. But yeah, it's just a personal thing. But I always love talking to you guys, and patrons get to talk to me once a month on Zoom, face to face. So there you go. Moving along, we also did a Why You Should Read on the Star Wars New Jedi Order this week. And if you didn't catch that because you're like, oh, I don't really like Star Wars. First off, I don't know what in the world's wrong with you if you don't like Star Wars. But again, that's it's personal choice. I get that. But for me, it's something that was very dear. And it's something that if you're one of those that was disgruntled with what Disney did with the sequels, I think that that's something that you can find a fallback into now and kind of have that itch scratched by what many of us still consider the official canon and consider the Disney sequels to be like a Earth 2 situation. So you can listen to that and see why I'm so passionate about that series in particular, as well as several other EU titles. But that's one of my favorite because I felt like that was the real ending of the original trilogy characters for me, and so it's always going to hold a special place for me. It was in my early 20s when those were coming out, and they were coming out like every 3 months, and they meant a lot to me. It really was a good time that helped keep Star Wars alive, even during that time where people were very disgruntled with the prequels. So it tells you how long ago this was. But yeah, anyhow, that brings me to something that they're talking about striking down the Disney prequel trilogy, that they're going to like decanonize it. First of all, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I've had so many people, what do you think about that? I don't think it's going to happen. They've talked about doing this whole otherworld kind of thing. I just don't see it happening because I feel like then it would have the bigwigs at Lucasfilm have to come out and say, we made a mistake and we acted like a fool for insulting all the fans over it after they've spent 2+ years insulting people, or their guard dogs in the media kind of attacking the fan base and stuff like that. So I just can't see that. That would have to be the biggest piece of humble pie they've ever had to eat. I just can't see that happening. In the end, I know it's all about money. So you would think that Disney wants to make money over, being proud about something. But I don't know. Like I said, there's going to have to be lots of changes at the top before I think that's going to happen. And as long as Kennedy and her crew are still in charge there, I just can't see it happening. So I'm not giving much credence to the rumor. What I think will happen is I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are going to kind of create their own little mini-verse on Disney Plus with Star Wars. They're going to spin off The Mandalorian into several different series and have it share a universe, kind of like what The Defenders did on Netflix. I think that's something, and then maybe they'll have a show where they all kind of come together at the end, Avengers style or something. So that's what I think they're really going to do. I don't expect them, if they make movies from now on. And the thing is, it's like, obviously, I feel like they're trying to bury the sequel trilogy because there are no video games, there are no toys. There's one Poe Dameron book, Poe Dameron and Zori Bliss, like one young adult book that's coming up with that. Nothing else. There's no other planned books. I don't see that there's any new comic series that are getting planned for the sequel trilogy characters. So obviously, it seems like they're not maybe trying to bury it, but I can't see them just completely striking it from existence. So I don't give much weight to that. But there are plenty of videos out there talking about it right now, if you want to hear a little more about that. I'll believe that when I see it. My opinion, again, make a show on Disney Plus called Star Wars Legends, make it animated, and adapt the Thrawn trilogy. And if it does really, really popular, keep making the old EU stories and just let everybody know up front. This is an alternate timeline. They'll be happy with that. Animated series, you can have people that you can have the actors come back and do those voices. Mark Hamill probably could come back and do all the voices. But yeah, that's what I would do. But again, that's everything for Star Wars. There were some new Wheel of Time castings that were announced, and I don't touch that stuff on the channel because the last time I tried to give my opinion on it, well, I'm pretty sure you know how that was met. With me, with casting, I always follow something I call the Ledger rule, which is Heath Ledger, as in I acted like a fool when he was cast as Joker, and much like everybody else, I was left eating a big shit sandwich afterwards. So from now on, I always say I'm going to wait until I see the adaptation before I even speak on these things. But everything is so crazy right now, I'm definitely not going to comment on any of those castings. I'm just glad that the show is apparently entering back into production soon. And that way, it hopefully comes out in 2021. But I did talk about the series and particularly how I would pace them, how I would space the books out per seasons. In my scenario, I said Jeff Bezos gave me a call and said, hey, I want you to give me a timeline of how you would do these 14 books in 8 seasons. And I kind of outlined that here. And I feel like it's kind of been met with a lot of positivity. I know that Wheel of Time fans are very, very protective of their series. And, while I was doing the premiere in the live chat, there were people saying things like, well, if you cut the circus and if you reduce the sea folk, then, the whole series it isn't Wheel of Time anymore. And it's like, I understand that people are going to feel like that. Me, a big-time ringer, when Tom Bombadil wasn't in the movies, I didn't care. I was fine with it. Because you know why? It didn't change the story. And we don't know that these things didn't happen off the screen. So I think you're going to see a lot of that with Wheel of Time. They're not going to do 12 to 15 seasons of Wheel of Time. It just doesn't work that way. I think anything that goes over 8 years usually wears out its welcome. There are a couple non-animated, let's put it that way. There are a couple series that people have brought up. I mean, like I'm watching season 11 of Supernatural right now. But, even I'll admit that's a shadow of its former self. So I went with the 8 seasons because I feel like that's the most realistic thing that's going to happen. And there's going to be a lot of things that get cut out. These are things you're just going to have to accept, or you're going to be very, very unhappy watching this series. But watch that video for things I said I hope don't happen, like side quests, like creating new characters and things like that. So I think it's been a very overwhelmingly positive discussion in the comments there. There are a few that, you're crazy. And I expect that. I by no means think I'm the authority on this. Like I said, I read this one time. And I just feel like that makes it where I'm not so close to it that I can't see every little side story cut. So, yeah, there's going to be things cut from, 4.4 million words to get this series adaptable. So there we go. Winds of Winter, guys. More Winds of Winter news. This is funny to me. Every single year around the summertime, people start saying, oh, I think it might actually sneak out this year. And I say every year. Yeah, this is about the usual time of year where George R.R. Martin will put out a blog post where he says, I hope that the book's coming out next year. And doggone it, wouldn't you know it, it happened this past week. In fact, it almost sounded like he wanted a pat on the back for saying he finished a couple of chapters. Guys, you're going to be much happier if you just accept it's either not going to happen, it's not going to be finished, or you're just going to have to just block it out of your mind and then you just won't even think about it anymore like most of us have. I'd hate to sound like I'm raining on your parade here because a lot of people think, well, he's talking about this and this, he's giving chapter preview and stuff. That must mean it's close. I remember thinking when he gave us a preview of a Tyrion chapter for A Dance with Dragons, thinking, wow, the book must be coming soon. It was 4 years after that, guys. So I'm not falling for it again. If being quarantined to your house, not being able to do anything else, can't get the man to write, it's not going to happen. So again, if it's a big Debbie Downer for you, sorry about that. It's just, it's kind of where I've been at for a while now. I talked about it in my current state of Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire video I did a while back. So don't want to repeat myself there. So guys, just stop getting your hopes up. As for next week, there are a couple of things I'd like to do. I already mentioned the Cold Days review. I kind of want to talk about the camera, the new camera upgrade. I kind of wanted to compare. It won't be really as an in-depth review or anything because I reviewed the Kindles and I feel like I can give you enough information on that. On this, really, I haven't even taken a picture with it yet. I've set it up to do the video, got the light settings to where I wanted to, and I just kind of roll with it. I'm not doing a bunch in there, so I'm not going to be able to tell you very much about it. But I wouldn't mind doing a quick comparison video for, hey, this is what it looks like now, and this is what it used to look like for people like me that were apprehensive about laying that much money down because they didn't think it would make a video quality difference. It makes a difference. Go back and watch anything back before April of this year, and you'll see the video difference. So kind of want to just kind of help out growing booktube or content creator channels that are, not sure yet if they want to lay down the money for a camera like this. So I'll go ahead and tell you, yes, you do, but I want to give you some video evidence of the Canon M50 because it's a wonderful, wonderful device. And like I said, I haven't even used it to take photos yet. So there we go. Also, I'm going to be doing a TBR update. I know I did my one for May, June, and July, but I felt like a couple things changed when we decided to announce that read-along for the Greatcoats, and of course Malazan next year. Obviously Malazan didn't affect it, but the Greatcoats read-along is kind of changing a couple of things. So I want to kind of do an update one of July, August, and September, because in October I'm doing something completely individual from the rest of that, which is going to be all horror-based, which I'll get into when that gets closer. But I kind of want to give an update on just what my plans are for July, August, and September outside of the read-along, because, everyone's TBR changes, and mine is no exception to that. And I love hearing about what you guys plan to read. Couple of movie things. We watched a couple of movies this week. We didn't go on our vacation, but Grandma still took the kids for 5 days, so we had some free time on our hands, and so we watched a couple of movies on Netflix. Well, one was on Netflix and one was on Amazon. On Netflix, we watched Infraction with the God of Thunder from Down Under, Chris Hemsworth. Didn't expect a lot, just looked like another action movie that I've seen a million times. But oh my God, guys, this had some of the best action scenes I've ever seen. Like up there with John Wick, like what they call it, the gun fu. But this is like way more realistic, I feel like. It has like this 12-minute sequence, long shot, of a car chase and then a chase through the buildings. And it is visually amazing. And I feel like if anything, you should watch the movie just for that sequence, because it is by far the best action sequence I've seen in years. It's amazing. Like, I went and watched Hemsworth and the other, I can't think of the other actor that he was having the action sequence in there, but they actually did like a shot-by-shot discussion about filming this scene. And it's just wonderful filmmaking. And then we get stuff of that kind of quality on freaking Netflix. Fantastic. So the movie itself, just okay. The action, top of the line. Can't get better. It was really, really good. And I'm just happy to see one of these MCU actors having some success outside of just the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. keeps trying it. It doesn't exactly work. I guess Sherlock kind of worked. But everything else I feel like he's tried to do hasn't really worked. Anything else Chris Evans kind of... I like Snowpiercer, but it wasn't exactly like, critically acclaimed, like the most wonderful thing ever or something. So I feel like some of these guys stepping outside the MCU, I'd like to see them be able to have a career outside of that. And hey, good for Hemsworth, because he is the mightiest Avenger. Also, we watched Midsommar. That's Ari Aster? I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. The guy that made Hereditary. It's his follow-up. Now, I feel like when you talk about A24 and you talk about elevated horror, this is where things get really, really iffy for people, because I've been a long-time horror fan, and I've been really, really picky on modern horror, because I feel like you've had a bunch of artsy directors come in and say, I can make horror, and I'm going to make it artsy, and that way it legitimizes the genre. Screw off. That's just absolutely the most pretentious thing I've ever heard. But also, what I hear a lot of is where people say, like, a movie is absolutely amazing, A Quiet Place, and then I watch it and I'm like, did I watch the same movie you guys did? So I obviously am a little different when it comes to horror. I thought Hereditary was wonderful, and a lot of people said they thought it was pretentious garbage. I can see both parts of it. You have that fine line between, is it deep or is it dumb? So with Midsommar, my expectations were high because I liked Hereditary so much. And again, I understand why. If you did not like Hereditary, I understand why. I definitely get it. To me, it was like the inception of horror movies, where I was still thinking about it. I was still arguing about it like a year after I saw it. So very much like Inception in that regard for me. With Midsommar, I don't know. It's still sinking in. Obviously, I'm still thinking about it. So this guy's 2 for 2 in that department. But it's nothing like you expect. It really isn't. It was really, in essence, a breakup movie, and I didn't expect that. So I really can't call it horror. There are horrific moments, and there are tense moments, but it's something else. I really don't know what to call it. But I'm definitely interested in following Mr. Astor's career, going forward, to see what he can do, because I feel like A24, like I said, with me, it's hit and miss. They'll have one really great one, and they'll have one that everybody tells me is great, and I'll see it and I'll be like Ghost Story? Oh, yeah. So, The Witch? So you're probably like gagging because you probably love these movies. Anyway, I'm a different beast when it comes to horror, I guess. So, but I definitely recommend Midsommar. I think that Hereditary was better. But I also think if you didn't like Hereditary, I'm not telling you you're not going to like this one. So I feel like they're different enough. It's just, it's like when you compare Spielberg movies, you're going to compare them to his other movies. So I'm going to do that with Mr. Astor here, since he seems to be a rising star in the horror genre. So I check it out, but it is long. It's very long. It's like 2.5 hours. So, and it feels like it too. It's not, and that's not a bad, I don't think that's a criticism when people say, oh, it didn't feel like it was 2.5 hours. No, this one feels like it, but I didn't feel like I wasn't ever looking at my watch and wanting to turn it off. It felt like a long movie. So make sure you're in the proper mood for it. It's definitely not a date night movie, like we did, apparently. That's about it for the movies. Let's talk about a little TV. Foundation, the Apple TV adaptation of the Isaac Asimov classic. I've never read this book. I said I would read it before this series comes out. So I'm going to be on the hook now. Here's the thing. A lot of people really like this trailer. A lot of other people are picking holes in it. I asked the Discord server, I was like, for people who have read it, how faithful does it seem? And they have explained that, well, that book takes place over thousands of years, so the way that they're trying to do it in a linear fashion is kind of confusing. So I'm interested to see what I think. But as far as just the trailer, yeah, I want to watch it. That to me, that's the bottom line there. As someone who has not read it, I want to watch it. So I'm a sucker for science fiction. I'm probably going to watch. I'll give just about anything a try, but except Ad Astra. Sounded like a really, really weird movie critic today, and I'm not a movie critic. But the Foundation trailer, I thought it looked really cool, and I'm looking forward to actually picking that up. Just bought a nice edition of it, which I'll show you guys in the next book haul. But it's actually the Foundation trilogy, so going to be reading my first Asimov sometime here soon, and I'm embarrassed it took me this long. Really, it's just never happened, you know. I mean, there's people, I can't believe you haven't read this or this or this. I mean, it's like I never stop reading, so I mean, it's not like I'm just being lazy. It's just sometimes things jump to the top of the line all the time, and other things kind of just keep sliding. I mean, I've wanted to read The Black Company since I was like 20, you know, and I just keep kicking it down the road. These things happen. It's never meant to be disparaging. And anyway, Supernatural, I kind of talked about that a minute earlier. This week, we just like Supernatural is something you can put on that doesn't really require much brain power. Look, the show hasn't been the same since season 5, and it's finishing up season 15 here in a couple of months if they ever get back from the virus that shall not be named, the last season. And I said it's one of those things where I feel like a show wears out its welcome by the time. Yeah, we've taken year-long breaks between seasons of Supernaturals many times, multiple times. I think it took us like 3 years to get through season 9, which was really bad. Enjoyed season 10. We're enjoying season 11 right now. So I want to say about Supernatural is, for me, I went like this. I went from The X-Files being my show to Buffy the Vampire, and then Angel being my show, and then right when that ended, Supernatural started. So I felt like since X-Files in the early 90s all the way to today, I've always had that kind of sci-fi, supernatural kind of show that I really enjoyed. So to me, I don't see an heir apparent in the wings for Supernatural, so it feels like an end of an era to me. So we're trying to think about maybe trying to get caught up here before it ends with the whole production delay that happened because of the virus. That makes a lot of sense why we might be able to do that. We roll through season 10 in like a couple of days because, like I said, the kids are gone. We've been bored. But anyway, I like Supernatural. Is it award-winning TV? No, nothing like that really is. But don't everything have to be, you know, steak and potatoes? Sometimes you just want some bubblegum and some candy. So you'll never hear me say anything bad about Supernatural. Yes, it's not as good as it used to be. It's still really good, though. It has its bad moments, just like every long show like that has. Hell, Buffy has some terrible episodes, okay? And that's my favorite show ever, so I love Supernatural, and I'd love to talk to you guys about that. If you're a Dresden Files fan, I don't know how you haven't watched Buffy, Angel, and Supernatural. I mean, that's it. I mean, to me, that's what that whole show. Add a little John Constantine in there. That, to me, is what Dresden Files is. So there you go. There's my quick little sales job. And I talked about Dark. The last season of Dark, we've watched 3 episodes this morning. It's 9 episodes is the final season. We said we're going to break it in 3, 3, and 3. We'll probably do it all today. I don't know. It's such a very cool show. And if I said that I felt like season 3 couldn't get any deeper, season 3 came busting through the door and said, hold my beer, because it is very, very deep. It is very, very good. And I'm nervous that they're not going to stick the landing, but that they are going to stick the landing. I don't know. That's ending. So I can't say enough about Dark, guys. Yes, it has German audio and English subtitles, how we're watching it. If you're watching a book channel and you like to read, I don't have any problem. With me, when I'm watching something subtitled, maybe this comes along with having kids. When I'm watching something that's subtitled, after a little bit, I don't even realize I'm reading anymore. So yes, it's a show you have to put your phone down, put everything else out of your mind, just pay attention, and you're going to love the show because, man, it really makes the wheels spin in your head. I mean it the best way. Let me wrap up real quick with some video game talk. I've had a lot of people ask me, am I playing The Last of Us 2? Because they know that I enjoyed The Last of Us. I played through The Last of Us like 3 times. Once on PS3, twice on PS4. So it's a game and a story I absolutely loved. I read the leaks before it came out and I said, I have no interest in that. And honestly, guys, here's the thing. Here's the truth of the matter. To me, this seems like the new version of The Last Jedi, where you took the characters that everybody loved, you took a huge shit on them, and now you're just attacking the fans who don't like what you did, instead of, saying, hey, you know what, it might not be for everybody. So I'm just staying away from it because I don't want to live through The Last Jedi again and all the personal attacks and all the accusations and all the labels that come along with it. If you played Last of Us 2 and you enjoyed it, fucking awesome, man. I love it. I'm happy for you. That's what I want. I want other people to have fun. I've never been the person that's like, well, I didn't enjoy that, so you can't enjoy it either. Absolutely not, man. If you're loving it, freaking awesome. I'm happy for you. It's exciting. I just prefer to keep that first game in my memory, because I love it that much. And it was close-ended enough that I'm just going to pretend it was one game. That's it. Last one is Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed again. Not shocking. I've been saying, I think it was my first live stream, somebody asked about that, and I said, I'll believe that game comes out when they say it's going to, when it's in my hand. They've been talking about this game since like 2011. My excitement level for it really dropped once I found out it was going to be first person. That's a personal thing. I didn't feel like it was doing anything to differentiate itself from every other first person shooter that's coming out. That's why I didn't get into the Metro series that everybody loves, because I'm sick of first person shooters. So I'd love it to be good because obviously CD Projekt Red got my attention with Witcher. So they should get my benefit of the doubt, and I guess they do. I'm just not going into it blindly expecting the world. So that's kind of where I am with gaming right now. Otherwise, I'm still playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey because that game never ends, and I love it. But that's about it for me, guys. What are you up to? What are you reading? What are you playing? What are you listening to? What are you watching? No wrong answers, man. Hit me in the comments and enjoy the rest of the weekend.